Taylor Hendricks, the forward from UCF. I'm excited that we've got a UCF player in the NBA that's not Taco Fall to begin with. But he's 19. He's 6'9". He can shoot. He can defend. He averaged 2 blocks per 36 minutes. He shot 39% from 3, 59 true shooting, 21% usage. Just not a super high usage number, but a defending, shooting, power forward type of player, I think is extremely valuable. You talked about, would you consider having Jarris at pick 5 to the Pistons? I would have Hendricks over Jarris Walker. And you are in a similar sort of vein of having Hendricks high. Like, what's your selling point for him over these other wings? Cam Whitmore, Jarris Walker, even Brandon Miller?
Well, the selling point is that he may not entirely be a wing. He could be a small center who kind of moves like one. Like, honestly, the player I've been kind of thinking of lately is sort of Jonathan Isaac.
Okay.
Almost. I don't know if he's that level of like event creator, like stocks guy, but every game I saw him play, and I probably watched 20 to 25, even when he was 1 for 8, 2 for 9, the defense was still, he just stayed connected, stayed low, just knew what he was doing defensively in a way that 18, 19-year-old, not high recruit freshmen are not really supposed to. He understands how to cut. He understands how to a little bit of handling. The spot up shooting is legit good, like even for his size. And so really right now he looks like a guy who could start at the 4 for a playoff team in a couple years. And if you could teach him how to handle like at all, then you've got like an actual third, like maybe like a third star, like legit possible all NBA guy in a few years, which is still in this draft, which is a good draft, but I don't think it's superstar heavy. I think that's a guy you take at least top 8.
I don't think there's, like, I've seen him getting mocked at 10 and 11, which seems pretty crazy to me. There's no way he goes outside the top 8 to me. And I could see him anywhere from 4, probably not 4, but probably 5 through to 8 is more likely for me with Hendricks. In terms of the strengths, we talk about defense, shooting. What's the biggest strength? What's the number one thing?
I would still say the shooting, because I think his release point's really high, and his ability, like if he starts working in some 2-3 dribble, come around screen stuff, then you've got like a guy who like breaks a defense at like the 4 or even small ball 5. So I mean, like if he can add a little strength and really start to get that dribble drive stuff, you've got like, what if PJ Washington was 6'9", 6'10", and not 6'7" maybe.
Yep.
And that's a pretty interesting player to me.
So you're right, he comes in as a not highly regarded prospect, but he elevates his game this high. I think one of the things that, I've got him at 5, but one of the things I look at and say, well, and I worry about with players is if you're going that high, like you're only 21 usage, like what, can you ramp that up? Can you become a guy who is 25% usage? Can you create shots for yourself at a higher clip? Can you help to set up others? Can you have that gravity? It's all well and good to be a guy that can shoot and can defend. And a lot of the stats from Taylor Hendricks, when you plug them into the Bartovic database and that sort of stuff with some, to see similarities, like the name that came up with him was senior Robert Covington, who's a guy that's never been able to do that at volume and create for himself, but defense and shooting is all excellent. Is there, like, he's obviously a lot younger than what senior Robert Covington was, 4 years younger than that. Is that offensive, let's say 25 usage, 26 usage in the NBA, not 30, not 31, like mid-20s, is that possible?
Yeah, I think Jeremy Grant, although he's stylistically different, is kind of a guy you can look at for that, who kind of grew into that. I mean, I don't think the usage, it's still important, but I feel like the skill sets are more, I mean, you have the worry of like a Patrick Williams type who hasn't yet grown into it, although there may be other issues, for that. But I mean, Halliburton was a 15 usage guy his freshman year, and then I feel like if you have the movement skill and the shooting skill, NBA teams will figure it out. Like I'm not particularly worried about that.
So you talk.
I understand though if you're taking him like 4 or 5, that is a small concern, but it's not a huge one for me.
That would be like I'd have the same concern with Jarris Walker, and that would be why I would consider maybe going Cam Whitmore above there, because even though Whitmore's passing stats were pretty horrible, like there is that usage ability and that usage upside and that like give me the ball and let's see what happens sort of mentality, which if it works, can be really, really valuable along with the other skills, whereas Hendricks hasn't shown that. But I do think, and that's, again, why I've got him ahead of Jarris on my board, is I think there is that ability there for him to step up. Now, you talked about playing him as potentially a small ball center in certain situations. Is there room in terms of his movement, athleticism, to go the other way, to play as a big three with other big men on the court, the way that, say, the Magic this season, when they were forced into situations where their guards were injured and Paolo was playing the three? Can you do that?
I would say so, because the only real concern you have with that is getting switched and feasting, and he does fine on switches. Like, he gets really low. He's not going to stop, Damian Lillard, but he does fine. He's not a guy I'd be worried about. I mean, maybe as a rookie, because he'd be a rookie, but
yeah, that's
going
forward,
all
rookies, though.
4 or 5 years from now, I wouldn't be worried about that at all with him.